back again? Surprised. One of my so-called friends said that he'd been watching one of my videos. And I said, oh, how sad. Hadn't you got anything better to do? He said, well, I had to do something to try and get off to sleep, didn't I? So we continue our exploration into who Jesus of Nazareth was. Sometimes it's easier to get a better understanding of something or someone by describing what it is not, what they are not. Like, for instance, if you're trying to find your way somewhere and you've got lost and you say to yourself, well, I know it's not down there. In a way, we find ourselves on the right route by identifying the ones that we know that's the wrong way. Well, Jesus based his life on God, yes, but he founded it on a God who was not. His God was not a fairy godfather. All right, be politically correct. Neither was he a fairy godmother. Many, many, many people would love to have a God like that. They want a God that they can control and who would do what they want. They believe that there is a power in the universe who will protect them from misfortune. It can even take the shape of a so-called lucky penny. Protect them. It's the kind of God that the ancients believed in. And he's depicted in the film industry with a few like Superman or Spider-Man or Batman. Well, when Jesus spent his time in the stillness of the wilderness, it was very tempting to offer himself as that kind of a leader. That was the kind that the nation wanted. That was what they expected. And had he done that, he would have been extremely popular. They'd have crowned him as their king. They'd have treated him as a god. But Jesus rejected that model. It distracted attention from the God that he worshipped. And that was not the nature of the God that he believed in. It focused attention on him, on Jesus. When people believe in a God who answers prayers as they want them answered, they lose their faith when it doesn't happen. They say, for instance, I can't believe in a God who allows that or doesn't do this. I can't believe in a God who allows children to be abused and killed. That's not the attitude of a God of love. And that's nothing new. You find it in the ancient Jewish songs in the Old Testament called the Psalms, where their God did not answer their prayers with the answers that they wanted. Do not fret because of evil men, or be envious of those who do wrong. They will soon die away, it says in Psalm 37. I envied the arrogant when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. They have no struggles. That's Psalm 73. Strange that the two Psalms have the numbers reversed, isn't it? In the 19th century, Lord Charles Bowen offered a rather cynical version in rhyme. And he said, the rain it raineth on the just, and also on the unjust fellow, but chiefly on the just, because the unjust stole the just's umbrella. Jesus revealed the nature of the God that he believed in. And he believed in it by resisting the temptation to believe in a God who was a puppet and who would protect us from anything harmful. A God who really doesn't exist. Jesus embraced a God who loved such that he gave his creatures complete free will. I've often said I would never have done that. I don't think that people should have their free will. God should tell them what to do or do it for them. But such a God challenges us to reach a far greater potential because we are allowed to take responsibility for ourselves and not pass it off onto somebody else. Take responsibility for our own decisions. We are permitted to resolve problems for ourselves and to engage with the challenges of life. Free will grants us the freedom to become ourselves, regardless then of where that lands us. But that is what a God of love really wants for us, to become the people that we ought to become. The freedom to do that, the freedom to express ourselves. Tennyson wrote in his poem that begins, "Strong Son of God, immortal love," these words: "Thou seemest human and divine, the highest, holiest manhood, thou. Our wills are ours, we know not how. Our wills are ours to make them thine." Now be warned, because Jesus said in Gethsemane, "Not my will, but yours." And that led to the supreme test of that immortal love that Tennyson speaks about, the cross. But following that way of living is the way to find out who Jesus of Nazareth was. A prayer. God, grant me the assurance of being surrounded by your presence, as I say, as your Son said, "Not my will, but yours." Amen. Well, thanks for your company. Hope to see you again. God bless you. Bye.